Good morning, everyone. Today I'm working in the garden again, and I'm going to try to catch you up on what's been going on here in the last couple of weeks. As I said, we're using some new techniques this year, new to us, and I want to show you how they're turning out and see if they might work for you in your situation. Also, Larry and I have been working on a fence and a shelter for a new pig area so we can move them and they'll have plenty of grazing room. So I hope you'll come along and learn something today, and if you have something to share with me, I would greatly appreciate it. We can all learn from each other. You can see that the sweet potatoes are filling in and covering the ground now, but now they've spread out, so it's going to be very difficult to do any weeding. So there will be some weeds, but the sweet potatoes have the advantage, and I think they'll do just fine. And you can see over here on the left side that we have a row of tenderette green beans, and they're coming along and blooming and doing real well. And over on the other side we have, let's see, what is that? Roma 2 green beans. And they're also blooming, and they look like they're going to do very well. As I've said before, I've always grown sweet potatoes with mulch in all the garden. I've always had mulch. And this year I don't have access to mulch, and I'm getting concerned about adding things to the garden from other resources because I don't know how other hay has been grown, or whatever mulch I get, I don't know what it might contain. So this year, as I've said, I'm working with new techniques. No mulch, working with cover crops, doing a little hoeing, and so far it's working out real well. I've planted watermelon and cantaloupe and cucumbers in here, and I'm letting them vine out over some woven ground cover. And beyond that, you can see the first two plantings of corn. The first planting's getting ears on it now, and the second one's coming along, and they were planted where I had cover crop last winter, and I cut it down and then planted where it was without tilling. I've done a little hoeing, but it's coming along and seems to be working fine. I do have some weed growth where I had cover crop, and like I said, I try to hoe a little bit and try to keep it from taking advantage of the vegetable plants. If you remember from the last video where I planted the sweet potatoes, I had it covered with a black ground cover to kill out the growth before I planted sweet potatoes. And that worked well, but the ground dried out very much and cracked between rains. Now that it's covered by the plants, I don't think that will happen. But here where I had the cover crop, there was no cracking when we had dry spells. The ground was always loose and easy to dig, and the weeds are easy to get up. So I think cover crops, like we hear other people say, they're a very good thing to do. And then I planted a row of peas around the corn here to try to take advantage of all the space. And I'll show you one of our old spots there. She's really grown, and she's down there keeping check on me. If I'm around, she wants to know what I'm doing, hoping that I'm going to bring her some feed. So these two girls are going to be moved to a new area soon. This is the new area for the pigs and the new electric fence that we put up. It might be a little bit low. We might decide to raise it just a little bit before we put them in here. And there's the new shelter we're working on in the shade there. And most of it's done except for putting the roof on. So we should be able to move those pigs in here before too long. And as you can see, they're going to have a lot of green in there, different variety of things to choose from. And while I'm out here, I'm going to eat some of these wild blackberries. You can see that the leaves have some problems on them. similar to a tame blackberry that we have in the garden that also has problems on the leaves. So I don't know what it is, but there's something in this area that really bothers the blackberries. I planted one a couple of years ago that was not supposed to have any leaf problems, and now it just looks really bad like some of these wild ones. So I think I'm just going to give up on blackberries for now. Here I'm putting in our last planting of corn for this year. I made 3 plantings to extend the season. And this is an area where I had garlic that I've harvested already, and there was some grass growth here, so I cut that all down with weed eater and have a lot of plant material laying on top of the ground. And I'm not tilling, I'm just planting the corn plants right into that. This milking stool just works terrific for working in the garden. I think it's even better for the garden than it is for milking. And this soil is very loose, easy to dig. So cover crops really seem to be a great thing. We're still enjoying our garden pond, and you can see beyond it there are 2 echinacea plants blooming, and then behind that our elderberries are in bloom. And I planted 2 cucumber plants here where the strawberries were, and let them vine out over this ground cover, and so far they look healthy and are doing well. They're starting to produce cucumbers. Okay, let's take a break from the garden and I will show you Rosie's new calf. His name is Brownie. Okay, back to the garden, and I'll finish up this video. I like to plant sunflowers in the garden to draw pollinators. These happen to be some that just voluntarily came up from seed that dropped last year. And here are potatoes. They've reached their peak of growth, and now the vines are in their natural dieback. And I'm getting some potatoes out of the ground now for us to eat. Okay, that's all for today. Thanks for watching.